Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local News for Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. Last night, the Twentynine Palms City Council discussed the surprise storm that walloped the city on July 14th and 15th. And just hours before the meeting, the city was hit again by another pop-up storm that closed Highway 62 and more roads, though they reopened quickly as sandplows were at the ready. Reporter Heather Clisby has more.
The storm that nobody saw coming was the big topic at last night's Twentynine Palms City Council meeting. City Manager Stone James kicked off the meeting with a full summary of the city's response to the storm. James noted that the National Weather Service predicted a 2% chance of rain on that Saturday and a 9% chance on that Sunday, so even the experts did not see it coming. The storm, which stubbornly parked itself over Twentynine Palms and refused to budge, released a solid deluge that affected 7 different regions of the city, especially near the cemetery, along Adobe, and caused a full shutdown of Highway 62 for several hours.
There is a little community that's located on Celia, south of Sunny Slope. There was so much debris, so much sand that came to the top of Desert Vista's Sunny Slope that the Public Works crew, they moved about 1,000 cubic yards. That day, they took off of Sunny Slope about 100 dump trucks of sand.
The Adobe Punch Bowl, an area of Adobe Road near the Marine Base just south of Smith's Ranch Drive-In, was heavily flooded, and yet cars repeatedly ignored the dangers and drove through. One car ran over a fire hydrant hidden underwater and it was destroyed. It was hastily repaired with a T-bar, only to have another car drive through and destroy that fix, releasing and wasting 3,000 gallons of water per minute in an already saturated area. And in case they missed any details, several residents were eager to share their stories of flood damage. Repeatedly, residents noted that property owners who have pushed back walls over easements and built illegal retaining walls or berms to redirect stormwaters only made matters worse for their neighbors. Residents at the corner of Sunny Slope and Celia described a, quote, tsunami of water that came barreling through their neighborhood. Though resident Mary Firestein had contacted the city, she did not receive a response for a week and a day.
I took upon myself and people in the community, our neighbors that are behind me, other neighbors, we all pitched in and helped each other. And I think a little bit more reaching out to us people would have helped.
Resident Yatish Nathraj, who lives just off Highway 62, spoke for many when he wondered about the neglect of some large-scale property owners.
I know there's a law in California that says you have a responsibility, a duty of care to make sure your water doesn't go onto another property and damage it. So I think you, as a city council, as a community, need to start holding these private landowners responsible.
Amid the frustration and complaints, there was also gratitude, best expressed by 30-year resident Robin Schlosser.
But I want to say thank you. I mean, from my heart to all of you for a job well done. And I want to say thank you to the people of Twentynine Palms for coming together and always having the spirit to look out for each other. Thank you.
Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Heather Clisby.
2 women were arrested for investigation into assault after what sheriff's deputies described as a brawl at Yucca Bowl in Yucca Valley. On Friday at around 10:30 p.m., sheriff's deputies responded to a report of several women fighting in the bar at Yucca Bowl on the corner of Twentynine Palms Highway and Balsa Avenue. When deputies arrived, they report finding Kyla Fitzgerald, 23, and Jade Jackson, 27, and several other women suffering from injuries after a physical altercation. Deputies say that a review of security footage showed Jackson flipping a table, hitting one victim. Deputies say the footage then showed Fitzgerald throwing a chair at the same victim before grabbing her hair and punching her. Everyone involved in the altercation declined medical treatment. Kyla Fitzgerald and Jade Jackson were both arrested on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon, not firearm, and booked into the Morongo Basin Jail. They have both since been released on bail. After a hit-and-run that caused damage to a homeowner's fence in Yucca Valley, the driver allegedly returned to the scene to protect his car and was arrested for investigation into DUI. Early Sunday morning, just before 1:30 a.m., sheriff's deputies responded to a report of a hit-and-run traffic collision near the intersection of Joshua Drive and Church Street in Yucca Valley. A witness told deputies that a Dodge Challenger drove through a driveway of a house on Joshua Drive, colliding with a fence. The witness said that the driver then fled on foot. While speaking with the homeowner and witness, deputies say that the suspect in the collision, identified as Richard Palomares, 30, returned to the scene of the collision and asked deputies if they had the appropriate paperwork to search his vehicle. Deputies say that Palomares became uncooperative and downplayed the incident, showing signs of being under the influence of alcohol. Palomares was taken to the sheriff's Morongo Basin station for a blood test and was found to be on probation for a 2022 DUI incident. Richard Palomares was arrested for investigation into 2 counts of DUI and hit and run with property damage. He has since been released on bail. The Yucca Valley Planning Commission moved ahead on 2 recurring agenda items at last night's meeting. Here is reporter Adeline J. Wells with that and more.
The Yucca Valley Planning Commission began its meeting with a public hearing on a development code amendment. At its meeting on May 14th, the Commission adopted a resolution requiring a landscape plan and landscape irrigation review as part of the Land Use Compliance Review application. Upon review of the ordinance's language, the Commission recommended that town staff amend the language to allow for differing landscaping standards in proportion to the scale of a project. Town staff then presented the Commission with a drafted ordinance related to mobile food vendors. Tonight was the 4th time the topic has been reviewed by the Planning Commission and Town Council. The proposed regulation would allow mobile food vendors to apply for temporary use permits to operate legally within the town. These would be available for general vending in the public right-of-way or on private property, as well as for food truck events. Vendors cannot be within 200 feet of an existing building vending similar products and must be within 200 feet of a hand wash station, complying with the state's health and safety code. The Commission voted to advance the 2 ordinances by scheduling a public hearing, both of which will occur at the August 27th meeting. They were pleased with the progress made for both issues, as noted by Commissioner Matthew Thomas.
I'm really excited about the fact that we're starting to tweak some of these ordinances for the town as the town grows. With all the influx of people and money and everything coming up here, it's nice that we're making some changes to accommodate things.
Lastly, the Planning Commission received the Land Development Update. Town staff noted that there are currently 165 short-term rental permits available for Yucca Valley. The town also received an application concerning the operation of the movie theater, which has been closed since the start of the pandemic in 2020. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Adeline J. Wells.
35 days of free fares are on the agenda for tomorrow's meeting of the Basin Transit Board of Directors. The board will consider the more than a month of free bus fares as a way to celebrate Basin Transit's 35th anniversary. The board will also recognize Employee of the Quarter and consider awarding a number of contracts related to technology, planning, and manufacturing work. Tomorrow's meeting is open to the public and begins at 5 p.m. at Basin Transit's office at 62405 Verbena Road in Joshua Tree. The Boys and Girls Club of the High Desert has announced a major change in their membership pricing, potentially saving parents who utilize their after-school programs hundreds of dollars a month. Online news editor Robert Hayden has the story.
The first day of school for many children in the High Desert is Monday, August 12th. And while summer vacation is a paradise for most kids, parents can frequently have a hard time finding fun and safe activities to fill those long days. Heading back to school helps, of course, but for many, the hours between school letting out and the end of the workday can still be hard to cover for working parents. For over 40 years, the Boys and Girls Club of the High Desert has been helping fill that gap with after-school programs that provide kids from kindergarten to 12th grade a fun, safe, and inclusive environment that offers physical activities, academic help, snacks, meals, and other programs that help foster healthy and holistic development. Parents who rely on the Boys and Girls Club of the High Desert's after-school programs will find something else to be happy about on that first day of school, a massive reduction in membership fees for the club. Starting on August 12th, it will only cost $20 per month per child. That's a reduction of the previous fee of $65 a week, which added up to $260 a month per kid. According to a press release from the Boys and Girls Club, the over 90% reduction in membership fees was spurred by refreshed leadership on the board of directors. Board President Grace Cohn Swing says they're dedicated to removing financial barriers that can prevent a child from accessing the enriching experiences that the club offers. Board Director Justin Marino says that the significant reduction brings the membership costs more in line with the club's mission and is part of an initiative to continually improve services and facilities in the club. The Boys and Girls Club of the High Desert is located in Yucca Valley right off Little League Drive. You can find more information on their website, www.bgchd.org. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
And finally, come learn about the medicine wheel teachings of the Star Maiden Circle this weekend at Rainbow Stew. This full-day session of spiritual learning and interactive practice is being organized by Valerie Eagleheart and will feature shadow self teachings, basin teachings of the wheel, and a Q&A session. Bring a notebook and paper for notes. There is no set or fixed fee for this day of teaching, though donations will be appreciated. The session begins Saturday. For more information, call Rainbow Stew at 760-418-5170. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm Jeff Harmetz.